It's
A wisdom.
a wisdom governing the mystic world. Well, I think that says everything that I was just
Right.
referring to about Orville also. There, I mean, certainly this wisdom is governing the mystic world. Now we're reading about AI, and I'm studying it a lot.
Mm.
We are also reading about these beings from other worlds that are on Earth with us in the thousands, I'm told. And I don't study too much on that, but there is a divine guidance, a wisdom governing the mystic world. No doubt about that. And so we'll go on now to page 160. A silence, listening to the cry of life. It sees the hurrying crowd of moments stream towards the still greatness of a distant hour. Well, here Sri Aurobindo is certainly telling us about the future and the supramental that is going to bring first power and then divine love to the world, transforming humanity and transforming the earth. It's interesting that the earth that is now so despoiled with plastic and garbage. And I have seen Tulum. I went to Tulum 60 years ago, and it was an extraordinary place. Of course, there was an occult presence there because there used to be human sacrifices. But it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, with the river rushing down into the sea. Now there's a mountain of garbage so huge that it shakes you. It's so sad to see this. And so we are seeing now that Sri Aurobindo is going to tell us about some of these things. For example, this huge world unintelligibly turns in the shadow of a mused inconscience. Can I get back to my lexicon? I've got all of you here, but I don't know how to get back to my lexicon. How did we do that last time? There we are. There we are. Very good. Okay. Now, so I have to get on to 160, right? Okay. Here we are. Because this is very important, you see. This silence, listening to the, now again, I lost it again. I don't know. Yeah, now I got it. Okay.
Okay, we wait.
This silence, you can do it because we did it in weeks past, and I'm sure this is important for me because I have all of Sri Aurobindo's comments on words such as silence. Now, we would think that silence is just an ordinary word in English, but it's not. Here's what he says in his letters on yoga. Silence is a state in which either there is no movement of the mind or vital, or else a great stillness which no surface movement can pierce or alter. And then again in another letter, he says, silence is the absence of all motion of thought or other vibration of activity. And so there is this silence that is listening to the cry of life. What does it do? It sees the hurrying crowd of moments stream towards the still greatness of a distant hour. So this crowd of moments, which we are living in right now, is streaming towards this still greatness of a distant hour. It is so positive that we cannot have any negativity in our consciousness. We have to only have gratitude, humility, and great joy. Now, we're back again to your section. I'm sorry. Okay. This huge world unintelligibly turns. Unintelligibly is something that's incomprehensible. It's incapable of being understood. It turns in the shadow of a mused inconscience. And we have read so many times about the inconscient that I won't go back to that for now. It hides a key to inner meanings missed. It locks in our hearts a voice we cannot hear. So this huge world that turns unintelligibly in this shadow of a mused inconscience is hiding a key to inner meanings that we miss. And it actually locks in our hearts a voice, but that voice we cannot hear. An enigmatic labor of the spirit, an exact machine of which none knows the use, an art and ingenuity without sense. This minute, elaborate, orchestrated life forever plays its motiveless symphonies. Well, this is a very, very important passage because actually it's a musical passage also. We have orchestrated, and we have motiveless, and we have symphonies, and we'll go through all those. So, an enigmatic labor of the spirit. We can't really understand it until we can rise above this body, vital life, and mind into the higher range of higher mind, illumined, intuitive, etc. But right now, it's an enigmatic labor of the spirit. And it's an exact machine. It is an exact machine because it is predestined. We are destined to become divine. We are destined to reach the supermental, to become supermentalized. And whether it takes one life or 100 lives, it doesn't matter. The promise is there from the divine. He has poured himself, diminishing himself from that transcendent atmosphere, smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, until he's in the stone and he's in the clay. And then he grows and he's in the human. And so we see now there is an enigmatic labor of the spirit, but it's an exact machine, yet we don't know the use of that machine. It is an art and ingenuity without sense. Why? Because this minute, elaborate, orchestrated life forever plays its motiveless symphonies. Now, a motif is a melody that recurs again and again in music. So here we have motiveless symphonies. It's not exactly just without a motive. I wouldn't say it like that. I would use a musical understanding because they are motiveless symphonies. Symphonies without a motif, without a direction, without a melody that is essential to the symphony. And now he says, the mind learns and knows not, turning its back to truth. Wow. Well, again, there's a semicolon there, so I should stop there for a moment. Yes, we can learn so much with our mind and yet not know anything because we turn our back to truth. Now, if we can rise above the physical mind to the higher mind, we will see that nothing is what it seems to be in this lower hemisphere. There is no sin. There is no understanding of morality as we understand it. There is still duality. There's still duality until we get to the overmind beginning to go into the supermind. But here in this level of existence, the mind learns and knows not, turning its back to truth. It studies surface laws by surface thought. Oh. Life's steps surveys, and nature's process sees, not seeing for what she acts or why we live. It marks her tireless care of just device, her patient intricacy of fine detail, its gabled stories piles, its climbing roofs. On the close carved foundations she has laid, imagine citadels reared in mythic air, or mounts a stair of dream to a mystic moon. Transient creations point and hit the sky. A world conjecture's scheme is labored out on the dim floor of mind's incertitude, or painfully built a fragmentary home. Now look at that passage, starting with the mind learns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 lines in one sentence. A sentence of 17 lines telling us about this mind that learns and knows not, that turns its back to truth. And then he wants us to understand a little more deeply what happens here. The mind studies surface laws by surface thought. It does not go deep enough. It surveys life's steps and it sees these processes of nature, but it's not seeing why nature acts or why even we live. It does mark her tireless care of just device, her patient intricacy of fine detail. Well, we have minds that are capable of that, certainly. The ingenious spirit's brave, inventive plan in her great futile mass of endless works and purposeful figures to her purposeless self. It's very negative, isn't it? And then he talks about its gabled stories, piles them up, its climbing roofs, on the close carved foundations she has laid. Well, what can you do on a close carved foundation? But then he speaks of these imagined citadels reared in mythic air, or mounts a stair of dream to a mystic moon. Transient creations point and hit the sky. A world conjecture scheme is labored out on the dim floor of mind's incertitude, or painfully built a fragmentary whole. Could you switch me back, Vladimir, to my lexicon so I can go through these lines a little bit deeper? So, starting here. What's this enigmatic labor of the Spirit? Well, it's a mysterious labor of the Spirit. It's a perplexing labor of the Spirit. And what is this art and ingenuity? Well, ingenuity is inventive skill or imagination, cleverness, actually. This minute, elaborate, orchestrated life. Well, something that is orchestrated is planned out by clever planning or maneuvering, and then forever plays its motiveless symphonies. Now, a motive in music, as I've said, is a recurring theme or subject. And this minute, elaborate, orchestrated life just plays its motiveless symphonies. So, but now he's going to take us into the mind. And he's going to tell us that the mind learns, but it doesn't know anything. It turns its back to truth. It studies surface laws by surface thought. It surveys life steps, and it sees these processes of nature, but it doesn't understand why nature acts or even why we live. And it marks her tireless care of just device. Well, device is a plan or a scheme. Her patient intricacy of fine detail. Intricacy is entangled or involved with interrelated parts. Complex, we could say. Complicated. Hard to understand. The ingenious spirit's brave, inventive plan. Ingenious is cleverly inventive or resourceful. We know that there are ingenious spirits in this world. In her great futile mass of endless works, futile is having no effective result, unsuccessful, pointless, unimportant, adds purposeful figures to her purposeless sum. Well, purposeful is full of meaning or significant, but it's a purposeless sum. And then, of course, we have the gabled stories, and we're back to your section again, Vladimir. If you can flip me back. Gabled stories are triangular sections of wall that end with a pitched roof. So these stories are actually storied is the modern spelling of story, S-T-O-R-I-E-D. On the close carved foundation she has laid, imagine citadels. Citadel is a fortress that commands a city, and it's used to defend against attack or siege. Mythic, of course, is imaginary, fictitious, or mounts a stair of dream to a mystic moon. Transient creations point and hit the sky, but they're just passing with time. A world conjecture scheme. A conjecture is a formation of conclusions from incomplete evidence. Very, very important. It's guesswork, basically. On the dim floor of mind's incertitude, mind's doubt or uncertainty, or painfully built a fragmentary whole. Fragmentary consists of small disconnected parts. You see how Sri Aurobindo is so careful with his wording. so clear. He wants to tell us the same thing in so many different ways. We see these things throughout Savitri. Today I was reading a different section where Narad is speaking to the queen, and Sri Aurobindo gives us the exact description of Christ's crucifixion. Calvary, Gethsemane, all of these things he brings in. Within 5 or 6 lines, the crowd, the jeers of the mass. And when I was a young boy, the Catholic priests used to tell us, Jews killed Christ. Imagine that, in the church. So, now, where are we on time? We got a little time, so I'll carry on. Impenetrable, a mystery recondite, is the vast plan of which we are a part. Its harmonies are discords to our view, because we know not the great theme they serve. So I'll read those few lines, and then, Vladimir, if you can fill in a bit more. Impenetrable, impossible to penetrate or to even see through. It's a recondite mystery, recondite, hidden, concealed, incomprehensible, is the vast plan of which we are a part. Its harmonies are discords to our view. Oh, that is a poignant statement, because if we could understand if we could understand those harmonies, there would not be any discords to our view. But we don't understand them because we know not the great theme they serve. Inscrutable work the cosmic agencies. Difficult to understand the cosmic agencies. Vladimir?
Yes. What I get from this is quite interesting. Sri Aurobindo tells us how mind cannot really understand. It can learn, it can do things, it can be part of this bigger plan which it doesn't see, but it is it builds the fragmentary oneness. It builds its own worlds, kind of illusory worlds, because they do not sustain, and at the same time they're real, because all those elements are in time manifested from the real, from the one who is there. And this is the subtlety of, he doesn't say that they're real. He says that it is all unreal, untrue. But at the same time, he says this in such a way that a very, very deep understanding of how the illusion, which we consider as illusion, is real. Because everything what is done in this world, even those fights and disharmonies, are part of the greater harmony. They are steps on the way to the truth, and dynamically manifest to our mind in those fragments which we perceive as real. We believe in them, and we should believe in them, otherwise we will not be able to manifest those steps. It's an amazing passage anyway.
It is. But what I feel, not to contradict you, but to add perhaps a thought, is that in this first quadrant of matter, body, vital, life, and mind, we are not able to understand these things. It is only if we can leap into a higher consciousness, which begins with the higher mind, where we can even have cosmic understanding in the higher mind. to the illumined mind, which is even wider, up to the overmind, from the intuitive mind to the overmind. That's the second stage. And this is what Ranga tells us each week when we read Life Divine, Synthesis of Yoga, Essays on the Gita, and Savitri.
What I wanted to say is that Sri Aurobindo's presumption or presupposition from which he looks at this world of fragmentary truth is felt when he speaks about it. We feel his position or his look because he speaks it in such a manner that it actually comes to us. And we have this kind of glimpse or touch of some higher truth, even if he speaks, especially when he speaks of these fragmentary positions of our mind. This is what I want.
But I wouldn't use the word presumption for Sri Aurobindo.
Oh yeah. It's a technical term. It's a linguistic term. Yes, presupposition rather. Yeah.
Okay. Who will read the passage for us? We have some wonderful readers. Somebody volunteer for me. Natalie, I think you're on.
Did you call me? I heard Madeleine.
You can do it, Madeleine, if you'd like.
Okay.
Yes, please do it.
I thought
next week.
I heard my name. Maybe it's wrong. Okay.
No.
If I go fast, tell me. But I'll try to do it slower, as you asked me last time. Okay. A silence, listening to the cry of life, it sees the hurrying crowd of moments stream towards the still greatness of a distant hour. This huge world unintelligibly turns in the shadow of a mused inconscience. It hides a key to inner meanings missed. It locks in our hearts a voice we cannot hear, an enigmatic labor of the spirit, an exact machine of which none knows the use, an art and ingenuity without sense. This minute, elaborate, orchestrated life forever plays its motiveless symphonies. The mind learns and knows not, turning its back to truth. It studies surface laws by surface thought. Life steps, surveys, and nature's process sees, not seeing for what she acts or why we live. It marks her tireless care of just device, her patient intricacy of fine detail, the ingenious spirit's brave inventive plan, in her great futile mass of endless works, adds purposeful figures to her purposeless sum. Its gabbled stories piles, its climbing roofs on the close-carved foundations she has laid, imagined citadels reared in mythic air, or mounts a stair of dream to a mystic moon. Transient creations point and hit the sky. A world conjecture's scheme is labored out on the dim floor of mind's incertitude, or painfully built a fragmentary whole. Impenetrable, a mystery recondite, is the vast plan of which we are a part. Its harmonies are discords to our view because we know not the great theme they serve. Inscrutable work, the cosmic agencies. Only the fringe of a wide surge we see.
Thank you so much. And See you next week.
I don't see the page.
No, I think we ended with
Okay.
work because we
Yeah,
page
okay.
6.
Thank you,
so
Narad,
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. See you
you.
next
Thank you
week.
so much.
See you next week.
Namaste.